Well, welcome to our webinar for Give to the Max Day 2016. My name is Dan Moore. I'm on the GiveMN staff, and I'll be leading our discussion today. Thanks for finding us on YouTube. So the GiveMN team is a staff of 5 folks here in our St. Paul office. Right in downtown St. Paul, we are led by our Executive Director, Jake Blumberg, who comes to us from Open Arms of Minnesota and Project 515. He's a career-long fundraiser and a great leader for our organization, taking us in exciting new directions and providing great leadership to our team. When he joined us just about a year ago, he brought with him Andrea Kaufman, who is our Director of Campaigns and Partnerships. That means she's really in charge of our fundraising at GiveMN for our operations, as well as for the prize pool that we share with you on Give to the Max Day and the programs that we do throughout the year. So she's out talking with sponsors and funders and trying to really rally support for our mission to grow giving throughout the state. My name is Dan Moore. I'm the Director of Operations and Donor Experience at GiveMN, and I spent 5 years as a gift officer at Gillette Children's Hospital Foundation before joining the team here. Mai Vang joined our team about a month ago as a support specialist. She's really the face and the voice of the GiveMN help team, and will be one of the first people that you hear from if you send us a message through our help.givemn.org support space. And finally, Tom Zimmerman is our Director of Marketing and Communications. He comes to us from the Georgia Center for Nonprofits, where he was helping to run a statewide giving day there called Georgia Gives Day. He moved to Minneapolis about a year and a half ago and joined our team, and this will be his second Give to the Max Day. Beyond the St. Paul GiveMN team, we also have our partners in Austin, Texas, who work for Kimbia and the K Foundation. And they're the primary technology partner that we have here at GiveMN, and they're the folks that are responsible for securely and successfully processing all the donations through the site, as well as maintaining the technical tools that you have available to you on givemn.org. So one of the best ways to find resources for Give to the Max Day 2016 is through our resources area on givemn.org, where you'll see links to the trainings that we're doing in person, as well as an outline of our prize incentives and guidelines, some toolkit materials that we'll talk about a little bit later, but some things to help you get going with your campaign, as well as a list of Give to the Max Day events that I'll touch on later as well. But this is a great place for you to find answers to questions you might have or details you might be interested in for Give to the Max Day 2016. If there's something that you're looking for that you don't see there, or you have a particular question about how to do something on your site or how to think about your campaign, we've put together a huge collection of frequently asked questions. This summer we spent several months going through and rewriting every FAQ that we had out there and providing new questions and new answers. And I think we're up over 200 FAQs right now with lots of good information for you and for your organization, as well as for donors, that is valuable when you're thinking about how you're doing your online giving, how you're using the tools on givemn.org, and how you're engaging your donors online. So if you have a question for us about anything, feel free to click that green help button in the corner of givemn.org. It's usually in the lower right corner of the website. You'll see that button with the help icon, and you can click there to search through our FAQs. And if for some reason you don't find an answer to the question that you've typed in, it'll automatically generate an email that will go to our help team, where Mai and I will be reviewing those questions. A few updates from GiveMN. GiveMN has a few new team members, and we met them a couple slides ago. We're also looking at adding new giving events through creative partnerships around the state to help grow giving. For those of you that heard about it last March, in March of 2015, we did a giving campaign in southeast Minnesota with 102 organizations in partnership with the Otto Bremer Trust. And that was a campaign that allowed the Otto Bremer Trust to do some really creative grant making in a new community they had not been making grants in previously. And they worked with us to help deliver matching gifts to organizations that fit within their guidelines so that we could help them learn how to do online fundraising, to help those organizations successfully raise money to help them meet a matching goal of $1 million that they put up. We'll talk more about that campaign later, but those are the kinds of partnerships that GiveMN is looking to increase and add in new ways so that we can continue to bring the kinds of events that are motivating Minnesotans like Give to the Max Day to other times of the year, and perhaps into smaller communities or into particular mission areas or to organizations that might share a funder in common. We're also looking at doing some more expertise sharing, some really hands-on training and education, kind of a consulting kind of a relationship with organizations to really help them dive deep into their digital fundraising and to think about how they are engaging with their donors, but on a longer time period than just something like Give to the Max. We really want organizations to be comfortable with their fundraising. We know that the overwhelming majority of organizations in Minnesota do all of their fundraising thanks to volunteer leadership, or perhaps they have just a single development professional on their staff, and they really could use just a little bit of extra help, a little bit of extra knowledge and experience to think about how they're engaging donors. Also, this year in July, GiveMN released a new feature on GiveMN that allows donors to pay the processing fees on behalf of the nonprofits that they're giving to. The donation processing fee on GiveMN is 6.9% as of July 1st. We now allow donors to pay that processing fee on behalf of your organization. Say, for example, a donor wants to give $100 to your organization. Previously, they would have made that $100 gift, and the processing fee would have been reduced from the amount that we would disperse to your organization at the end of the month. Now, with the option for donors to pay that fee, they could potentially add that $6.90 onto their credit card charge and pay $106.90 so that your organization gets the full 100% or the full $100 of that intended gift. But that's kind of what's new at GiveMN. Our agenda for today is to look at Give to the Max Day details and some things that are going to be happening on that day and around that time in November. We're also going to look at some information about what organizations have told us and what donors have told us through the surveys that we put out on the day after Give to the Max Day each year. So we'll be looking at the 2014 and 2015 data, and you can see a little bit what your peers are experiencing and what your donors are telling us on our survey. We're also going to look at a couple examples of some successful Give to the Max Day campaigns. We're going to talk about securing a matching gift, both why that's important and how to do it. And then we're also going to talk about planning your Give to the Max Day 16 campaign, as well as take a quick look at the resources page that we've set up for you where we have information in the toolkit. Here are a few of the details for Give to the Max Day 2016. For those of you returning to Give to the Max Day, you'll notice a lot of things are the same this year as they were in the past. First of all, scheduled giving will start on November 1st. Scheduled giving is a function that allows donors to use GiveMN to schedule their gift for Give to the Max Day starting on November 1st, just like you would use perhaps the bill pay function at the bank, where you can log in on payday and schedule your bills to be paid on the schedule that you need. This is a function that allows donors to visit your donation form on givemn.org anytime between November 1st and November 16th to schedule their gifts for November 17th. That allows them to perhaps travel on Give to the Max Day without having to worry about checking off their donations from their to-do list. People can go out there for a full 16 days and schedule their gifts, and all of those gifts that are scheduled during that time will count on Give to the Max Day. They will be processed on Give to the Max Day, and they will be included in the prize pool for Give to the Max Day. You can also promote a matching gift on your page. This allows you to add the amount and the date range for a matching gift that you might have for your campaign, and that will put a little notation on your page that lets your donors know that you have a matching gift available. That matching gift will be deprecated each time a donor makes a gift. So if you start with $1,000 as a match and a donor makes a $100 gift, the next donor that visits your page will see that there's $900 remaining in that match, and that will continue until the match is depleted. At the time that you have matching dollars available and you see that indicator on your page, your organization will also be included in a curated search that GiveMN provides with a button in the GiveMN header. So when donors want to search for an organization that has a matching gift, but they're not quite sure who to give to, they can click the Find a Matching Gift button and search the list of all the organizations that have posted their matching gifts on their page. The GiveMN website is completely mobile optimized for phones and tablets. We've done this rather than creating an app to make it easier for donors to access the website, to make their gifts quickly and easily without having to remember that they should go and download something first. We also allow donors to track all of their giving with an optional and free account where they simply create one using their email address and their name, and that allows donors to do a couple of things. It's going to track all of their giving in a very clear list of the donations that they've made through GiveMN, and that will stick with them as long as they have their account. If they go ahead and create their account after they've already made gifts in the past, all of their donations that they've made with that email address will also come into that account so they can see their previous giving as well. In that space, in that donation list, donors can request duplicate copies of their receipts. So if the email receipt that GiveMN provides for some reason gets lost or it doesn't quite make it to your inbox because it got stuck in a spam filter somewhere, you can request a copy of that receipt right there in your account. If a donor uses the recurring gift function to continue making their donations on a repeat basis, they can manage that gift as well through their donor account. If, for example, they need to update the expiration date on their credit card, or if they got a brand new credit card and need to update the number December, they can self-service that through their donor account as well. There's also an easy tax report that will be accessible starting in January for all of the donations that are made in the 2015 calendar year. And it gives a very nice, concise list of all the donation information that a donor might need when they're preparing their taxes, including all the deductibility information about their gift. There's also a Give Again button found in the donor account where donors can see that they made a donation to your organization last year or at another time on the website. And if they want to simply repeat that gift again without having to re-enter all of their information, they can log into their account, find the donation that they would like to repeat, and simply click the Give Again button. That will take them to your page. It will enter all of the same information that they entered in the donation form the last time they made their gift, and simply ask them to re-enter their confirmation code from their credit card and then check out. Other things that are the same for Gift to the Max Day 16, GiveMN always provides automatic email receipts to donors that happen as soon as a gift is made. So we always encourage organizations to do good donor stewardship, thinking about sending thank you notes and sending news about the impact of a gift and how donations are being used. But your organization doesn't have to worry about the tax receipt portion of receiving donations through GiveMN, because we take care of that for you. As soon as the donor makes a gift on GiveMN, they will receive an email receipt with all of the IRS substantiation information, as well as the date and amount of their gift and everything else that they need to keep track of that in their own records. Donors can also make anonymous gifts through the website. That allows your organization to see the information about their gift, but you will not see their personal information. Donors can make tribute and memorial gifts as well. Some people like to make gifts in honor of a favorite teacher or perhaps in memory of their grandmother. There is a tribute and memorial dedication box on the donation form on GiveMN, so people can leave a note there that will pass through in your donation reports. All donations that are processed through GiveMN are bundled at the end of each calendar month throughout the year and dispersed on the 15th of the following month. So for Gift to the Max Day donations, we'll take everything that's processed in the month of November, both on the Giving Day on the 17th, as well as any donations that might come in after that. And then we will process all of that in one check or one electronic deposit on or about the 15th of December. We do offer two ways of receiving disbursements from GiveMN. The first and the default is to receive a paper check in the mail. We send paper checks to the mailing address that we have on file that we pulled from the IRS master file that it brings forward the postal address that you have included in your 990 or your official paperwork with the IRS. So that's where we're going to send the check by default. If for some reason that's not the right place to send a check for your organization, you can update that in the GiveMN administrative area and provide some validating paperwork for that, and that will allow you to have the check sent to a new location. We also allow for electronic deposits, and this is great for organizations that might want to receive their dollars a day or two earlier, depending on how quickly your organization clears deposits. And you will also then not have to worry about the hassle of receiving that check and making sure that it gets processed and taken to the bank. The money will automatically appear in your checking or savings account if you sign up for electronics funds transfer, also that can be done through the GiveMN administrative area. Another thing that is the same this year for GiveMN is how we will communicate news on Gift to the Max Day. We communicate both really exciting news about prize winners and about exciting events that are happening, about media that is covering the day, but we will also communicate any technical information that needs to be shared about the status of the website or any of its particular functions or any of the things that are going on with our events throughout the day. And the two primary ways that we will do that to make sure that we are communicating in a place that is technically isolated from our website is to use our Facebook and Twitter feeds. Those are accessible through facebook.com/GiveMN and twitter.com/GiveMN, and that will help get you some of that information as well. And those are two places where we will share information throughout the day. GiveMN has a variety of other social streams, and we invite you to follow us there. But the two most immediate places where we will share information on that day will be Facebook and Twitter. We also use a page on our blog that acts as a site status page that a number of other giving days around the country and a number of other organizations have seen and really liked. This is a place where we outline each of the core technical functions that is a part of the Gift to the Max Day site, and we outline them very clearly with a little stoplight indicator of green, yellow, or red when those particular components are fully functional, when there might be a known issue with it and what the resolution is, or if for some reason a function has been disabled on the giving day. We do this as a way to really communicate transparently and clearly with organization leaders and with donors so that you know exactly what's happening with our technology on Gift to the Max Day. There are also a couple of things that will be different this year in the technology. Different in that we've spent the month since Give to the Max Day 2015 adding some new functions to the website and some new tools that we think will be helpful for you and for your donors. The first is that option for donors to pay the processing fee that we talked about. This allows donors to check a box that says, yes, they would like to pay that 6.9% processing fee on behalf of your organization to make sure that your organization receives the full 100% of the donation that they intended to give you. So that is on the site now. We launched it on July 1st, and we've seen some really great success with donors choosing to pay those processing fees since then. As a part of that form update, we also removed the add a tip request, where historically GiveMN has asked donors to contribute $1 or $3 or $5 to help support our operating as well. And because we are now asking donors to pay that processing fee on behalf of your organization, we removed the tip request from the form. For those of you who use the default donation values because you haven't added a custom suggested giving amount on your page, we've now added a $250 option there just to help donors think about perhaps the power of giving a little bit bigger gift than the $100 option that was there previously. If you don't like the options that are on your page today, you have complete control to change those options, add little descriptions next to each of them to talk about the impact of that gift for your organization, and to think about how you might use that to continue telling the story of your fundraising on Give to the Max Day and beyond. We also added an option for donors to make a bi-weekly recurring gift on GiveMN. Previously, the options for recurring gifts were weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annual donations. We heard from a lot of donors that they wanted the option to have their recurring gift line up with their bi-weekly paycheck. And so we added a bi-weekly option this summer as well, and we've seen a number of new donors select that. We did some things to move things around in the donation form to make it a little bit shorter, to make it a little bit clearer and easier to read. And then we did some things that seem very minor, but changing things like the sender name on the receipt have helped to make sure that more receipts are successfully landing in inboxes and not getting caught in junk folders or spam filters. So we're trying to do those little things technically that will help ease everyone's experience of their giving as well, even if it doesn't look like it's a big change. Along with adding the pay the processing fee option, we've also added data to your donation and disbursement reports. We've made it very clear in the donation reports now that you can retrieve through the administrative area of your page that you can see a column for exactly what the donor intended to give to your organization. You can see in a very simple field the exact processing rate that will be applied to that gift. You can see with a yes or no indicator whether a donor decided to pay the fee on behalf of your organization or not. And then you can see the amount of the total fees that were withheld from the gift. So if a donor said yes, they chose to pay the fees, you'll see a 0 in the total fees withheld column. If a donor did not choose to pay the fees on behalf of your organization, you will see in the total fees withheld a calculation of 6.9% of that original gift that the donor made. And then finally, you'll see a calculation of the amount that will be dispersed to your organization at the end of the month. So you have a very good idea, even before the end of the month comes, exactly how much you'll be receiving from each of those donations. We also added a pay the fee choice to the donor account reports that we talked about earlier. This allows donors to see the full amount of what was processed on their credit card in their GiveMN account, so that if they have questions later when they're comparing to their bank statement, they can go back and validate everything. And they can also see when they're preparing their taxes that the full amount of the donation, including any processing fees that they chose to pay, is tax deductible. And so in our example of a $100 donation where a donor chose to pay an extra $6.90, that full $106.90 is tax deductible for them at the end of the year. And they can see that in their reports. Getting into the prize pool for Gift to the Max Day, we have about a $150,000 prize pool available this year for Gift to the Max Day, thanks in large part to the Bush Foundation, who has made a generous grant to fund those prizes. And this is one of the ways that those prizes will be shared with organizations. This is the competitive portion of Gift to the Max Day, where we invite organizations to try to raise as much money as possible on that day, and with those scheduled gifts that we process on Give to the Max Day, to allow you to sort of creep up the leaderboard, which is a competitive board of a listing of all the organizations in that category that are competing for these prize grants. So the organizations that raise the most money on each of these leaderboards will reach that $10,000 prize grant goal, then going down to the 5th place, where the 5th place winner will win $1,000 in each of these categories. First of all, in the overall category, that includes includes every nonprofit and public school in the state of Minnesota. So everybody that's participating in Give to the Max Day that is prize eligible is part of that overall leaderboard and competing for that top prize of $10,000. Then if you're a college or university, those organizations also are competing on their very own leaderboard for the top 5 prizes. Then if you are an organization whose annual revenue is less than $100,000, you will be listed on the small organization leaderboard. This is a place where we know that if you're a huge organization and you have a lot of fundraising capacity, you're going to raise a lot of money on Give to the Max Day and probably rise to the top of that overall leaderboard. But if you're a smaller organization with a smaller donor base, your goal for the day might be to raise $10,000 or $20,000 rather than hundreds of thousands. You have the small leaderboard that you can compete on. We do the same thing on the medium nonprofits leaderboard, where organizations that have a reported annual revenue between $100,000 and $1 million will be included on the medium leaderboard. We still have all of last year's prize winners and leaderboards posted on the web. The address for that is givemn.org/GTMD15. Moving on to the game of chance on Give to the Max Day rather than the competitive portion of the program. The GiveMN golden tickets are awarded randomly throughout the day. We do draw one ticket every hour, and we add $1,000 to the organization that received that donation. So for a donor who wants to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and make their donation between 3 and 4, we will draw randomly at 4 o'clock in the morning, and that donor would be eligible to win that particular $1,000 golden ticket. We will do that each hour of the day on November 17th. There's also a $10,000 supersized golden ticket that will be drawn from all the scheduled gifts that are successfully processed on November 17th. So if you remember when we talked about scheduled gifts, that begins on November 1st, and it allows donors to go out and schedule their gift to be processed on the 17th, but they can cross it off their to-do list during any of those first 16 days in November. When those scheduled gifts are successfully processed in the early hours of the morning on November 17th, we will complete processing all of those gifts, and then we will draw a gift out of those that are successfully processed and add $10,000 to that organization. We will also draw for one $10,000 supersized golden ticket at the end of November 17th, at the end of the giving day, from all of the donations that were processed on that day. You'll remember that that includes all of the scheduled gifts. And so there's actually an extra $10,000 in prize money available for folks that schedule their gifts early. And yes, you can win more than one golden ticket for your organization. More information is available on our website about how the golden ticket process works, and we invite you to check that out. Each year of Give to the Max Day, we've been trying to do something exciting, something that will get the media's attention, something that will bring cameras out and reporters out and get people to cover Give to the Max Day in a really exciting way, because we know that when the media is talking about Give to the Max Day, more and more donors are reminded that it's a great day to give, and that benefits everybody. So in the past, we've been out at the Mall of America doing production out there. We've been swimming with sharks and riding zip lines and riding roller coasters. We've been on metro transit platforms in downtown Minneapolis, talking with commuters in the morning and giving out hot chocolate and coffee. And this year, we are going to expand events for Gift to the Max Day to a road trip. And we're going to ask Andrea from our office, as well as some well-trained and well-caffeinated drivers, to head around the state and try to get to every corner of Minnesota for the 24 hours of the day. So they'll start somewhere at midnight and hit a number of landmarks and communities around the state throughout the day, and then finally wrap up at midnight with a celebration of having somehow made it around the state in 24 hours. We haven't decided all of the details for that event yet, but we will be sharing more about that on our website, and we'll be sharing that as well in emails to organization leaders like yourselves. So stay tuned for fun things that are happening around the state and opportunities where your organization might be able to be involved in those stops. We also want to know about the events that you might be doing. So maybe you and a couple of other organizations are going to get together at a coffee shop with a laptop and invite a number of your donors in to chat with you about their donations and to make them that day. That's a really simple way to host a live event. It doesn't take a lot of money, a lot of planning, or a lot of time on Gift to the Max Day. You might be doing something as creative as a 12-hour kayak build if you are urban boat builders like they did last year. There's some really creative things that people are doing on Gift to the Max Day. It's certainly not required that you do an event, but if you have something fun that you're doing at your organization or in your community that day, we want to know about it, because the press frequently asks us, who should we talk about? Who should we feature in our newscast? And we like to be able to point them to a list and let the producers choose, because every news outlet has their own ideas of what they want to cover, and we want to make sure that we're giving everybody an opportunity to sort of be in front of the press as much as possible. So one of the best ways to do that is to go out to our website and enter in information about what events you might be doing, and we're going to curate a list on our website of all the special events happening on Gift to the Max Day. And when the press asks us, hey, what's going going on, we're going to point them right back at that list, or hopefully they'll find your organization and feel like that's something that they want to cover in their broadcast or in their publication. You can fill out that form today on GiveMN.org. It's a very simple form, and we will add events as they come in throughout the next couple of weeks to the website. We're going to look at a little bit of what organizations tell us about their organization and how they're participating in Give to the Max Day. We send out a survey every year after Give to the Max Day, and we ask organizations about the number of fundraising or development staff that their organization employs. The biggest percentage of organizations in Minnesota doing all of their fundraising with volunteers. They don't have any staff people doing fundraising. And this is really important for us to know as an organization because it really informs how we try to provide resources, how we try to provide training, and how we try to help everybody be as successful as possible on the Giving Day. Another 33% of organizations have only one staff person. And so while you might look at the overall leaderboard and see organizations that are raising hundreds of thousands of dollars and they have a lot of staff, just know that the vast majority of your peers on GiveMN have very few professional staff helping with their fundraising. We asked the same question about annual operating budgets, and we know that about a third of the organizations participating in Give to the Max Day are going to qualify for that small nonprofit leaderboard. They have operating budgets under $100,000. Then there's another good chunk that is under $500,000. So we're trying as much as we can to make things accessible for small organizations and to make it easy for you to be as successful as possible. We also see that a lot of organizations are meeting new donors through Give to the Max Day. A lot of people are getting between 1% and 5% of their their donors on Give to the Max Day being first-time donors. Another significant chunk somewhere in that 11 to 50% range. So when we look at it in summary, we know that 87% of organizations are meeting new donors or first-time donors through their Give to the Max Day fundraising campaigns. And that's really exciting for us as an organization whose mission is to grow giving and to ignite generosity. To think that new people are coming to your organization and giving for the first time is really heartwarming for us as an organization. So we've asked in our live trainings for a show of hands of how many people think that each of these options is the average amount raised by an organization on Give to the Max Day. Since we're doing our training virtually today, I just went ahead and called out the answer. $3,000 is the amount that the average organization raises on Give to the Max Day. So for those of you who are above average, congratulations. And for those of you who might be raising less than $3,000, this gives you a goal to aspire to think that's what the sort of the middle organization is raising on Give to the Max Day, and that's what you want to raise as well. So She Rock is an organization in Minneapolis that's empowering girls and women through the art of music. On Give to the Max Day last year, they raised 35 donations totaling about $2,700. 11 of those came from an organization email that they sent. 9 of them came from Facebook links that were shared in the social stream. Maybe it was by the organization, or maybe it was by supporters of that organization who shared or liked or commented on the post that the organization had posted, so they were getting into their person-to-person social streams as well. We know that Facebook tends to prioritize posts shared by regular individuals rather than by organizations. And so as much as possible in your social campaign, it's important to get regular individuals, so whether that's your staff or your board or your volunteers or your existing donors, to share the posts that your organization is posting so they can be shared and viewed by more folks. They also received one donation from an email that GiveMN sent. So what is this email that GiveMN sends? GiveMN sends 2 emails in Give to the Max Day season to all the donors who have given through GiveMN in the past. We send one on November 1st to announce that scheduled giving has opened. We also send one on November 17th on the Giving Day to say that it's Give to the Max Day and it's a great day to give. It's a simple reminder to folks the Giving Day is upon us and that they should go search for an organization that they would like to give to. Another example organization here is All Dog Rescue, located in the Twin Cities, dedicated to finding lifelong homes for rescued dogs. Last year on Give to the Max Day, they raised about 40 donations, totaling just over that average $3,000 donation mark. And again, we see a lot of the same information. 19 of their donations came from an organization email, 3 from Facebook, 3 from the GiveMN email, and then 2 from donor accounts, where donors that had given to that organization in the past logged into their donor account on GiveMN, found their previous donation, and clicked that Give Again button. Lake Superior Youth Chorus up in the Duluth area raised about $3,400 from 41 donations, and they used a lot of the same tools, an organization email, using Facebook, donors who responded to the GiveMN email and used their donor account, and then also they put a link on their website where they had put a mention on their own .org webpage that you could go to the GiveMN.org site to give. All of the information that I'm sharing here about the source of these donations can be found in your donation reports in the referring page URL column. That tells you the exact web address where a donor was right before they made their gift, so you can see whether it was your email, whether it was your social post, or whether it was something like a Google search or another vehicle that donors used to find your donation page on GiveMN. Finally, we looked at an organization that raised about 10x the average, about $30,000 from Friends of the Boundary Waters Wilderness. They were able to connect with 366 donors in many of the same ways that we've talked about with other organizations. And then I also noticed in their information that donors had completed gifts to other organizations on GiveMN.org and then used the search function at the top of GiveMN to look for this organization and go over there and make a gift. Just further evidence that donors are truly giving to more than one organization on GiveMN and are sort of walking around the website and digitally shopping for a number of different giving opportunities on Gift to the Max Day. So looking at what donors tell us in the survey that we ask them to complete, we first ask about geographic residence. And we know that we have donors residing in all 87 of Minnesota's counties, in all 50 states in the US, and in 41 other countries, just giving on Gift to the Max Day. And so while it looks like it might be a Minnesota event, the organizations in Minnesota truly do have a global reach to donors around the world using this opportunity to ignite their generosity really from anywhere around the globe. GiveMN can accept international transactions as well, as long as a donor is using those 4 major credit cards, Visa, American Express, Discover, and MasterCard. As long as they're using one of those credit cards, donors can process their donations in US dollars anywhere in the world without any additional fees or exchanges or anything like that. We also ask donors about their age range, and so sometimes it's thought that online giving events or online giving in general is primarily for millennials, for those younger donors who are digital natives and grew up with e-commerce and things like that. But when we did our survey, we found that the largest block of donors on Gift to the Max Day is actually between the ages of 60 and 69. That's 29% of those who are giving on Gift to the Max Day. And then the second largest block is in their 50s, and the third largest block is in their 40s. So we do know that there is a huge range of donors' ages represented on Gift to the Max Day. And even though it's really hard to see in this pie chart, there are donors giving who are under the age of 18 and over the age of 90. We also asked about how many organizations a donor might give to in a given year. And if you are an organization that thinks that perhaps your donors are really only giving to your organization, we see that that's the case with only about 4% of donors. The other 96% of the donors that we surveyed said that they're giving to 2 or more organizations a year. The largest chunk of donors is giving to between 4 and 10. And this is a good reason to think about all of the different kinds of ways that you can engage your donors, and to remember that they're probably giving to more than just your organization. We asked donors how they heard about organizations that they wanted to support for the first time. Not necessarily how they heard about Gift to the Max Day or how they heard about a giving opportunity, but how is it that they came to learn about your organization? And what we heard overwhelmingly was that people are hearing about organizations and good causes and projects that they want to support from other people. They're hearing from family, they're hearing from friends, they're hearing from colleagues about maybe the volunteering that they did over the weekend, or about an organization that they've had an interaction with, or that has helped them out personally or helped a family member. And really, we know that one of the biggest ways that organizations find success in their fundraising is by asking people to ask people, rather than organizations asking people through formal email or through a newsletter. If we can ask our existing donors to go out and ask their friends and family, if we can ask our board members, ask our staff, ask our volunteers to go out and ask their networks, that's a great way to get people engaged in giving for the first time. Then looking at whether or not people had a specific giving day budget. 74% of donors who participated had a budget in mind when they sat down to do their giving on Gift to the Max Day. Of those 74% that had a budget, 80% of them stuck to their budget. They had a plan for their giving day. They probably knew who they were going to give to and how much they were going to give, and they went out and did it and moved on with their day, and that's awesome. But then there's that other 18% who said, no, I donated more than I planned. What motivated you to give more than you planned? And these are a few representative comments that we saw. Somebody learned about an organization from their grandson. Another person found a new organization in the list of organizations that had a matching donation. Some people wanted to win a golden ticket with 3 exclamation points. They were really excited about that opportunity. And then some people found a listing for an organization that they were aware of and probably wanted to give to, but they didn't realize that they could receive donations through GiveMN. Is having a matching gift important to donors? And 75% of donors that we surveyed said that having an organization who offers a matching gift on Gift to the Max Day is either somewhat or extremely important. It might be $100, it might be $1,000, or it might be $10,000, but the size of the match is less important than the existence of the match. We see this also in the data that we looked at from the March Millions camp from 2015. This was a 31-day campaign that we did in South Southeast Minnesota with 102 organizations and $1 million in matching grants on the line. The data that you see in front of you starts with the first day of the month on the left and ends with the 31st of March on the right. And the orange data is representing the time when the matching gift was available. So you see that a lot of money was raised in those first 3.5 days. The average gift was huge. There were a lot of donors engaged. People were making a lot of gifts. And that was all happening when there was a match. When that $1 million was expired after 3.5 days and there was no longer a match available, you see a lot less giving activity throughout the campaign. There were prizes available on each day of this campaign. There was a $1,000 Bremer boost available each day and a $10,000 Bremer boost available at the end of the month. But we still saw the most motivation from donors happening when there was a matching gift in place. How do we go about finding a matching gift for our organization? The first thing to do is to set a goal. Thinking about what you might be able to raise realistically on a giving day. You want to be a little bit aspirational, but what do you think is a reasonable goal to have for your giving day? And you probably want to try to set that as your matching goal as well. If you're an average organization and you think you might raise about $3,000, then talk to your board chair or talk to a major donor or see if you can look for a matching gift of about that $3,000 so you can really push your donors to aspire to helping you complete that match. If you are in search of who might be that perfect donor for a gift, look nearby. The best places to find your matching gifts are on your board of directors. Maybe it's your board chair or a group of board members who wants to pool their gifts together. Remember, the size of the gift is less important than the presence of the match. And so if you have 5 board members who each want to give $200 and pool together for a board match of $1,000, that's a great place to start. That's one of the ways that board members can be really involved in helping to inspire others and to help with their fundraising for a Give to the Max Day campaign, is to think about how they can help provide a matching gift. Whether they're a part of a pooled matching gift, whether they can provide a whole matching gift on their own, or whether they can help connect the staff or the volunteers. And then soliciting the match is sometimes overlooked. And remember that a matching gift on GiveMN does not have to be processed through GiveMN.org. If a donor wants to give you $3,000 and they want to put that on their credit or debit card, they can certainly do that. Wait until that match has expired. Wait until it's all been used up. Wait until those $3,000 have been raised from all the other donors on your giving day, and then call up your board chair and ask them to go out and make their gift of $3,000 on their credit card. But if they would prefer to pay their match through transfer of stock or other appreciated assets, or perhaps they plan to write you a check, in the months to come, that's a great way also. We want to see your organization secure that match in whatever way is best for you and for your donors. We also know that it's important to promote your match, and so to make sure that you are promoting your match both on your GiveMN page and getting included on that list of matching gifts, but also sharing it in your social stream, sharing it on your website, sharing it at your live events, in your facility where your donors or your volunteers or your clients are visiting on a regular basis. Talk about the fact that you have a match. Having a match is something that adds urgency to a campaign. It is compelling. It endorses your organization. It says that people have already invested in your mission and they believe that your work is important. They're willing to put a large gift on the line, but that they also are relying on donors to help match that. So it's important to make sure that it's promoted, and sometimes we see that being the top line message for campaigns around Give to the Max Day. It's also important to remember to steward all of your donations that are related to your match. So not only do you want to go back to your matching gift donor and steward them and let them know the number of donors that they helped to inspire and the amount of the match that was successfully contributed, but you also want to go back to all those donors who gave during the matching gift period. Go back to those donors and let them know that perhaps their $20 gift was awesome and that you really appreciate it, but you might want to talk to them about the power of the $40 that you're able to use in your organization to do the good work of your cause because they were able to give at a time when a gift was matched. So for those donors who gave $20 but they felt like they were doing $40 worth of good, remember that that's an important stewardship message as well. What are some of the key elements of planning a campaign? The first one that I would challenge each of you to do for your organization is to determine a goal. One of the best ways to set a goal is to think about how you can involve a verb, a number, and an audience. If you can get one of each of those things into your goal, I find it's really easy to start to imagine your strategy and to imagine the stories that you want to tell and what your call to action is going to be to your donors. We put a few examples here that we've seen from other organizations. Maybe your goal for the day is to use 100% of a matching gift. And now your whole campaign is about making sure that any donor from anywhere, no matter what size their gift is or how many gifts they might have already made, your sole goal for the day is to utilize 100% of that match. And that story writes itself. Maybe your goal is to engage 25 new social social followers to give $10 each. We saw this in that example that we showed you from Friends of the Boundary Waters Wilderness, where they talked about a membership campaign for their organization, and they talked about a $10 membership cost so that everybody that gave $10 on Gift to the Max Day could be a part of that organization, and they promoted that campaign across all of their social streams. So perhaps you have a Twitter follower who repeatedly retweets your posts, and they're liking everything and favoriting everything, but you only know them as Whiskertown7, and you presume that maybe that means that they like cats, but you have no other information about them. You don't really know who they are. If you could engage your social followers to give $10 each on Gift to the Max Day, that's a way of collecting their donor information, their first and last name, their email address, their postal address, and now you have new ways of communicating with that donor and getting additional gifts from them. Maybe you want to ask 5 volunteers to raise money on your behalf. This is a great opportunity for board members to go out and do some fundraising, for your direct service volunteers. Maybe it's even for your staff that usually aren't involved in fundraising, but they're really passionate about your mission. Maybe they want to go out and raise $250 by asking 5 friends to give $50 each. And if you're interested in using peer-to-peer fundraising tools for a more in-depth campaign like that, you can certainly check out the resources that we have available on the GiveMN website for doing that. Maybe you have donors who always give by check and you want to ask them to be online donors. Maybe you have 15 one-time donors that you want to ask that instead of making a $100 gift, maybe you want to think about giving us a $15 monthly gift and having that recur over and over again. That actually adds up to a significant upgrade in giving from that $100. And some donors like the idea of giving a little bit every month or every week or even the every 2 weeks option that we've added. Maybe you have 20 donors that you want to ask to give $150 each, and that gets you right to that $3,000 average mark. There are lots of ways to think about your goals for the day, and it might be to complete a $10,000 campaign to build that new playground, and that's awesome too. But if you don't have that kind of a goal in your organization, you're just looking for some general operating dollars, we would invite you to set a goal about who you're going to engage, how you want to engage them, and then how many people you want to engage. So when you think about crafting a compelling fundraising campaign, whether it's for Gift to the Max Day or any other time of the year, whether it's online or in any channel, it's always good to identify a really amazing story for your organization and to think about the anecdotes that will illustrate that story. So rather than talking about, really focus more on maybe one family or one person or one animal, and to illustrate that in a really compelling way, using as much human language, as many storytelling techniques as you can think of to allow your donors to see sort of through the eyes of that story the impact that their donation can have in your organization. Telling your readers why they should care and focusing maybe on one particular project. Rather than saying we want to raise general operating dollars so that we can keep our doors open and our lights on, maybe you want to focus on one particular program and say this is what we really want to focus on this year. This is a story that we really want you to know about, that we want you to tell your family and your friends and your colleagues about, because we think it's so important that this project be funded, now while we have our matching gift available, and we really want to make sure that we can call Gift to the Max Day a success, fully fund this project, and if for some reason we don't meet our goal, we're going to continue that to the end of the year, but we really need to do this now, and it's important that you be involved. We invite you also to make sure that you're proofreading everything, that you're not having any embarrassing errors out there, and then to do a pronoun check, to make sure that your communications don't have a lot of I's and we's and name of the organization, but to think more about how you can insert the word you, which is probably one of the most powerful words in the English language, especially when you're asking people to take an action or to make a contribution. Talking about donors like you and how you could make this particular project possible, or how you have made it possible for this kid to get this service in the community, or how you and other donors like you have been making it possible for us to serve our community like this for so many years. And so look at your pronouns in your messages and make sure that you're really focusing on the donor as much as possible. When you think about your communication campaign, we get asked a lot of times, how much communication is too much communication? What's the right rhythm for communicating around Gift to the Max Day? The best answer I have for you on that is that whatever you're doing, keep doing it. It seems to be working. I don't know exactly what quantity of communication or what pace of communication organizations are using, but when we asked donors to help us understand more about Gift to the Max Day promotion by organizations, 66% of them in 2015 and 65% in 2014 said that they received the right amount of communication. 15% of donors said that they wished organizations would have promoted Gift to the Max Day a little bit more, or would have promoted a giving day a little bit more. And then we saw 19% of donors say they were getting too much solicitation. They would have preferred, just a couple fewer messages. Remember who's taking our survey though, and that's people who successfully made a gift on Gift to the Max Day. So this 19% that said that they received too much solicitation, it still didn't discourage them from giving. They were still able to successfully make their gifts on Gift to the Max Day. They were still moved by your mission to contribute generously, but they just wish that there had been a little bit less communication. So thinking about the calendar for November as you plan out your communications, we've outlined the GiveMN calendar here for you with that scheduled giving period highlighted in the light green area. So starting on November 1st, scheduled giving will begin. Donors who have given through GiveMN in the past will get an email from us saying that scheduled giving has begun, but we invite you also to promote scheduled giving at that time. And remember that all the gifts that are scheduled ahead of time will be eligible for that additional $10,000 prize. We tried to pick the date for Gift to the Max Day to leave as much space between Election Day and Gift to the Max Day as possible, knowing that it's really important to donors and to organizations the media be talking about Gift to the Max Day, and that the media be running public service announcements in their open commercial spaces and be talking about it during their newscasts and in their editorial sections. And we know that, especially in a general election year, the news media is fully consumed with other things, and so we try to leave as much space in there as possible. We also indicated Veterans Day on here because for some organizations that's a really important day to communicate with your donors, and for other organizations that might be doing a postal campaign, maybe they're sending out a postcard or they're sending letters or they're asking people to send notes to friends and encourage them to give. Remember that Veterans Day is a postal holiday and that there's no mail delivered on that day. Then Gift to the Max Day is on the 17th, when all of those scheduled gifts will be processed and the vast majority of the giving for the giving day will happen, and we'll be drawing out those prizes, one every hour, one for all those successful Gift to the Max Day scheduled gifts, and then one at the end of the day drawing from every gift that was processed on the 17th. Following that is the week of Thanksgiving. It's a wonderful time to send really heartfelt notes to your donors who gave on Gift to the Max Day and to let them know that you really appreciate their gift. You really appreciate what their gift is able to do if their gift was matched and it's actually going to go twice as far for your mission. If all of this seems like it's just a little bit too much and you don't have the resources in your organization or you don't have the time and energy to do a really large campaign around Gift to the Max Day, that's perfectly okay. But there's a few things that we want you to do for us if you're even doing a small campaign. Claim your page and to verify your disbursement address. A lot of times organizations will receive a $10 gift even though they were not doing a lot of promotion, and we want to make sure that we can get that check to your organization as quickly as possible. So please verify your disbursement address. Make sure that the address that's in our system is one where you know that you can receive that check. Then we ask you to just do a quick update of your page. If you have references to past Gift to the Max Days, maybe you reference 2013 or 2014 on your page, go clean that stuff up so that when donors find your page, they know that it's current and they know that they can trust it as a way to give to your organization. Also double check the thank you messages that you have available that you can customize that will be part of the thank you receipts the donors receive. Sometimes organizations use that for a second call to action. Maybe after a donor makes their gift and they're getting their receipt, you want to remind them that they can sign up to volunteer for something or they can come to an event. If the date of that event that you promote in there is from 2 years ago, double check that date just to make sure that it's accurate. Then think about planning a low-touch social campaign. We talked already about that $10 model where simply asking all of your social followers to give $10 can be a really powerful way to meet some new donors. Think about acquiring new donors through a social campaign. Maybe you ask your followers, your existing fans on social media, to donate their social stream for a day. So rather than posting something from BuzzFeed and something from the New York Times and something from the Wall Street Journal, and maybe they're only going to post things about your organization, or they're only going to repost things from your organization that day, and they're going to donate their personal social feed as a way to amplify your message and to make sure that their followers and their friends are also seeing messages from the organization that they care about. And then maybe think about folding Gift to the Max Day into your existing year-end strategy. So if you do a year-end letter to all of your donors and you're afraid that there might be too many opportunities out there for them to give, I would say that having too many opportunities to give is never a bad thing. But if you're worried about asking too much, maybe you just put in the postscript of your annual giving letter that for some reason donors prefer not to send a check back. They can always find your page on GiveMN and give that way. That's good any day of the year, on Gift to the Max Day, especially when there are those prizes available. After Gift to the Max Day, starting November 18th, we would encourage you to do your celebrating, but to also get down to the hard work of saying thank you and handwriting those thank you notes and sending out those messages and those phone calls and those emails, making sure that the donors who gave to you on Give to the Max Day feel some love from your organization. They know that their gift was important, they know that it was received, that it's going to be put to good use in the days, weeks, and months to come. And that's a great way to help boost your donor retention, is to make sure that everybody's getting a very timely and very heartfelt thank you message. Too often in nonprofit fundraising, we tend to focus a lot on finding new donors, while at the same time we sort of forget that we might be losing our existing donors. And so we're sort of always replacing with new donors the donors that we were losing. And so to keep those donors after their first gift for their second gift and their third gift and their fourth gift is a way to really help grow our fundraising performance. One of the ways to welcome those new donors is to send a special welcome packet or a welcome message. Maybe it's a quick note from your executive director that says, "Thank you so much for investing in us for the first time. We would love to know how you heard about us or what it was that encouraged you to give." Maybe you want to go back to some of those newsletters or those stories that you've been telling about your mission for the last few months to your donors, but then perhaps new donors haven't heard because they weren't in your communication stream. Dust off some of those newsletters, highlight a couple of the stories, add a post-it here and there, and send that to those new donors and say, "We just wanted to make sure you heard this story as well," so that they can make sure that they're caught up on the news from your organization, and they might find new information that they love to share as well. When you're thinking about whether or not you met your goals for Give to the Max Day, it's important to share any news at all about your goal. So if you met a goal and you were successful, that's awesome. Celebrate that as much as you can, and make sure that your donors know that they were a huge part of helping you meet that goal. If you didn't quite meet your goal, if you wanted to finish that $10,000 playground, but you only got to $8,500 on Give to the Max Day, maybe you want to think about extending your goal to the end of the calendar year or to the end of the month even, and say, "Hey, we were able to get to the $8,500 mark, but we've got this $1,500 left. Do you have any ways that you could think of to help us close that gap?" Maybe you could make an extra gift. Maybe you could reach out and ask another person to make a gift to help us close that gap. So think about what goals you have and whether or not you met them, and what kind of messages and milestones you want to communicate about that. We'll take a quick look here at the resources that we have for Give to the Max Day on our homepage. On the Give to the Max Day resources page, you will find logos for Give to the Max Day in every shape, size, color, and file format that you could need. We've got web-ready images, we have print-ready images, we have the original EPS artwork files for those who are working with more sophisticated desktop publishing. So everything is out there available for you to use however you'd like. We also have a number of checklists for how to get your page updated and things to think about as you're planning your campaign. We have boilerplate language if you need to just drop something quickly into a board report or into a newsletter. And there's also a customizable template that might help you get started thinking about communicating for Give to the Max Day and some of the language that you might want to use when you're talking with your donors. We also put some resources out there for schools with a backpack flyer. A number of the resources that we have out there are available in other languages. Some of them are posted in Spanish and Hmong and Somali and Karen. Remember that you can search our frequently asked questions area for a lot of great information about Give to the Max Day, whether it's the technical stuff or the strategy stuff or how to find additional resources. It's all there in our frequently asked questions area that you can access through that green help link in the corner of GiveMN.org. So that brings us to the end of our webinar today. Look for those resources on GiveMN.org or to reach out to us through help.givemn.org. Thank you.